Howdy, folks. Thanks for tuning in again. Hope y'all are doing okay. Boy, I tell you. So there's two things I want to try to get to today. I'm going to try to be brief on both of them. The first thing that's on my mind actually comes from close to home. The town I used to live in, about 25 miles away. The local GOP headquarters has been vandalized twice at this point. The first time, all their outdoor signage had been vandalized. They had big, custom printed banners for our, people running for our state and the Republican Party and the president and all that. And then they had signs on the windows and whatnot. Well, the first time, all the big banners had been cut up and just generally made a mess of. Well, today there was an article posted in one of the local newspapers that they were at it again, and this time they shattered out the windows of the place. I don't know that there was any damage inside the building, or that they vandalized anything on in, or that they went in and stole stuff, whatever. But I find it odd that I don't actually, if you follow the thought process, but the party that is always talking about tolerance and peace and letting people be who they are and express themselves and blah, 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 they're the ones tearing up signs, and you can find videos of it where they're stealing signs or slashing people's signs in their own front yard. And it's just it's just stupid to me. All the guys that I talk politics with of my own accord, there's several that I have difference of opinion with, but the discussion remains civil. I don't question their motives or their reasons. I'll question them, but I don't ascribe motives. Just, he's a fascist, or he's a communist, or he's this or that or the other. No, I'll sit back and, hey, why do you think that way or feel that way or what have you? I want to understand the why. And so, if you're anti-Second Amendment, I'd like to know specifically why, or why you think that regulations on firearms are necessary, or if you're pro-universal health care or single payer, whatever you want to call it, why you are pro that. And then I can explain why I'm pro the opposite of whatever your point of view is, and then we can go back and forth and have a discussion on why we disagree, and someone's going to get informed. I've never threatened to raise a hand to anybody. The only time that you could theoretically say that I have is, I'm trying to remember, someone was saying something like, it was on a web forum, this person's opinion or whatever, and I respect them and they're my best friend online, and anyone that has to question them, they're going to have to answer to me, and I'm not very nice, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and I'll come to your house and do whatever. And I'm just like, dude, really think through that, because it's real easy to be a keyboard warrior, but when you show up at someone's house and they have a guard dog and lots of guns and lots of ammo, you're going to find out real quick you ain't as tough as you think you are. And I was very promptly removed from that group. So that could be the only way that it could be considered that I've threatened somebody. But they did it first, and basically I just stood my ground, and kind of my attempt was to make him think about using that kind of language. And I don't know if I did or not. I mean, I got removed from the group and I've never spoke to the person since, so who knows. But I don't understand why you can't have your opinion. I can't have my different opinion. And we sit down and have a civil discussion, disagree on a lot of it, and walk away respecting one another for at least being a decent enough human being to hear the other person out, to have respect for being a decent enough human being to explain our point of view, even though it's something that we know that they're not going to want to hear, and on and on and on. I don't get it. So it's just frustrating to me. The other thing I wanted to talk about, before I go on, and I know that there have been incidents where Democrat headquarters have been vandalized over the years, but I don't think that they happen as often as Republican headquarters get vandalized. I don't know. I could be wrong. If someone has the stats on that, leave it in the comments. I'd like to know. But in my neck of the woods, you don't hear about it as often. So that's what I have to say about that. The next thing I wanted to talk about is Philadelphia. So, for those of you that don't know, there was an officer-involved shooting on a black gentleman. And that's probably the news headline. And that's probably what the story's about. The officers in question responded to a call of a gentleman wielding a knife. I watched some of the cell phone video that was taken from the incident, but I couldn't tell how big the knife was. I was listening to a podcast and I caught, bits and pieces of the video, but I was busy, so I couldn't be paying, total attention to the video. So, I don't know. The officers show up and find a man wielding a knife. And they are attempting to de-escalate the situation. They're they're backing away from him, giving him space, not trying to make him feel crowded or threatened as much as they can, while still being ready to respond to him if he threatens. And they are giving him commands to put the knife down. He doesn't. He charges, and they shoot him until he stops. Which, I don't care if you're a police officer, if you are a civilian that's taking a firearms safety course, if you go into the Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force, Coast Guard, whatever. Typically, when you are going through firearm training and they're telling you, so when do you stop shooting? You stop shooting when the threat stops. So, as an example, if I'm running at a cop and I've got a choose your weapon, it doesn't matter, but something not a gun. When that cop makes the decision to shoot, their decision to, and I've given the cop the reason to make that decision to shoot. Their decision to stop is based on me. Do I stop when the first shot rings out and realize I'm about to end up dead? Do I stop after the second shot hits? There's actually been a study that shows that double taps are more effective than a perfectly placed single shot because of the reaction time of the body, the foot-pounds of kinetic energy on the body, and a few other odds and ends, that the first shot overwhelms various parts of the nervous system, and you don't get a pain reaction immediately, so the second shot is often required to even make someone feel the pain in the first few seconds. So, and I heard that from a buddy of mine. He is a parent to one of my best friends. He served in the Army. When I don't know what all positions he had. When I met my friend, they had moved to the area, the local military base, and he was a military police officer, and at one point, that's a thing that he told me, was that's why they trained the double tap, is because oftentimes when someone gets shot, they don't even feel the pain from the first shot if it's not a critical shot, and doesn't put them down. Okay, that's interesting. When these cops shot, they shot until the dude stopped coming at them. And it's all on video. There's cell phone footage of it right now. I don't know if it's on YouTube or not, but it's out there. Well, where I get frustrated is I saw a video last night of the Walmarts in Philadelphia being looted. People just taking out TVs and high dollar electronics and anything else they get their hands on. The funny thing that happened is someone was loading up their truck, and in the middle of them loading their truck, someone full of looted items, I should say, someone showed up and stole the truck. I find that hysterical. So, but I said all that to say that when you've got businesses, and I would love to know the numbers behind this because I bet I'm right, that incur high deductible or high insurance deductibles, because I guarantee not all that's insured at face value. There's got to be deductibles on it. And especially when it's the kind of thing where police will not intervene on the store's behalf, on the taxpayer's behalf, to help them secure their possessions against unlawful activities. I would wager that Walmart does not end up staying there for more than a year, if they even reopen. That's what my money says. And you say whatever you want about Walmart, but it's going to take some time. Even if that store, even if the store and everybody knuckles down, we're going to stay here. We're not going to let them run us off. Okay, good for you. But it's going to take a while for them to reopen. All the people that work there are going to be laid off. And the one thing that I was listening to last night, you talk about demographics and people being out of work or hurting or whatever, if you have a business in a majority whatever ethnicity area, and I don't even like using these metrics or these words and these policies, but if you have a business in a majority area of whatever ethnicity, especially a big one, the probability is high that the majority of the staff belongs to that ethnic group. So you might think you're putting it to the man and all this and that, but in reality, you are hurting. Someone coming out, going slow. Come on, move it. In reality, you're hurting all the employees that worked there that are probably of the same ethnic persuasion as you, or of an ethnic minority, or of the dominant ethnic background in the area. It just makes no sense to me. You know, if they went in there and emptied that Walmart out and burned it to the ground, that is not going to hurt the Walmart company as a whole. I don't know how many stores they have. I don't know what their profit margins are, but you're talking probably a fraction of a percent of their overall cash flow out of one store. You're not going to hurt them with one store. But all the people that worked there, from the dude that scrubbed the toilets and swept the floors, to the cashiers, to the stock boys, to the butcher shop, meat counter. Do they have a meat counter at Walmart? I don't think that's Kroger that has the meat counter. All Walmart stuff's pre-packed. But the guys that stock all the refrigerated goods throughout the day, up to the management at the store level, which, if you work your way up, that's actually not a bad career. I used to know a couple managers at a different chain store that I used to work at, and they did fairly well for themselves. Lived reasonably comfortably. Even a department manager, not, oversight, but say the grocery manager. I used to work for a guy at a Kroger. He was the they called it dry grocery, basically like canned goods, toilet paper, cereals, anything that came in a package that didn't need to be refrigerated or wasn't temperature sensitive, so your non-perishables. That guy was in charge of it. And he lived a fairly comfortable life. So, you're putting some of those guys out of work onto unemployment, possibly, with the way that certain states are with their unemployment right now. I don't know if the unemployment can cover them. They definitely don't fall under CARES Act, so they don't get the extra, the supplemental unemployment benefit, the $600 extra a week, whatever it is now, I don't know. So they don't get that. And in my job, unemployment is about 2/3 a normal paycheck. So anyway, I just don't understand it. I don't understand what one has to do with the other. And I might be wrong. And I've had two, I'm trying to think of the best word here. I guess the best word would be interactions at BLM sites where they were actively protesting / rioting. And some friends of mine had an interaction with them as well. The first interaction was in May of this year. It was right after George Floyd had passed away at the hands of Officer Chauvin. And I've said it before, I'll say it again, wrong on all accounts, that the way that Officer Chauvin conducted himself. Wrong on all accounts. Wrong on all accounts the way that his buddies conducted themselves that were with him. Okay? So, this was right after that. Breonna Taylor in Louisville had been shot in her home 2-ish months prior. And where it gets interesting, or where this story starts, I'd gotten a phone call. My son has a minor health condition that occasionally flares up. It's healing, but it causes him some discomfort from time to time. I'm at work, get a phone call. Hey, you might want to be heading to the children's hospital. Your son's having a lot of pain. I think we're going to take an ambulance. So I get myself out of work and get rolling to the children's hospital. Meet my wife and son up there. Thankfully, everything's okay. They monitor, do an x-ray and a couple tests to see what's going on. And by the time he got to the hospital, the spell had passed. He's fine. We're getting ready to leave. Well, let me back up. My wife, her sister, is a paramedic in that city. And so my wife was texting her sister, hey, we're heading up here. Here's what's going on, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So we get up there. She's messaging back and forth. Okay, well, we're fine. Well, they're getting ready to discharge us. Don't leave. Stay at the hospital. What? Why? There's protests and riots downtown next to where you are. Really? Huh. Well, we can get out. No, stay at the hospital. We walk out in the lobby because they dismiss us out of our ER room, so we're going to have to, at least get out of there. The TV is on, the local news station, and it shows rioters attempting to flip an ambulance over. There's a cop standing there, and I turn to him and I say, "Where's all this at?" He goes, "It's over such and such and such and such a street." So I'm like, "Whoa, that's real close, ain't it?" He goes, "Yeah." I pull up Google Maps to try to figure out where exactly it is in relation to me, where I'm going to have to... I'm just trying to get to the interstate. I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to have to go to get to the interstate to have an unobscured route. How close they are, if I can even get out of the parking garage. Okay. Well, as I'm sitting there, you hear the cops radio, shots fired, shots fired, shots fired. I'm like, and you can see where the traffic stops on Google Maps, because it shows, where the backup is. So I'm like, okay, well, we can get out of here. I was like 1 or 2 city blocks away from where they were rioting and stopping traffic and trying to tip over cars and all this and that. So I count myself fortunate that I was where I was. And I got out without harm or incident, but I was in my Mustang and I was very much ready to do whatever I had to do to get my wife and kid out of there safely. You can read into that whatever you will. My second interaction with them, the town closest to me that has a Walmart. There's one town closer, but there's like nothing there. So the town closest to me that has shopping, I had to go there one day. It was a very beautiful afternoon this particular day. And I'm driving through the public square, and I see some people pulled off to the side in the parking around the public square, and they've got signs say honk for BLM, honk for this, honk for that, and I'm like, wow, really? This is cool. Honk, honk. No windows shattered, no cars set on fire, no one hurt, no one stolen from, no one damaged in any way, be it person or property. I'm like, I can get on board with this. This is cool. You know, you got a right to whatever opinion you want to have. You ain't shutting down a road. You ain't damaging property. You're not hurting people. We're cool. The interaction that my friends had, there was a local group in the town I used to live at that got together, and they had gotten permission from the city and gotten police to close down the public square, and they actually protested downtown. They had shut it down, but the police had detours, so, you know, they weren't just stopping traffic, you know, they had detours around it, and they got to walk around the traffic circles and hold their signs and say what they wanted to say. I'm cool with every bit of that. No windows shattered, no people damaged by person or property. Cool with that. So, I said all that about the BLM riots and protests and everything else to say, I don't know if this helps or hurts Trump, but it has to do something. I can't see there being a way that huge numbers of people are 100% okay with this behavior in their city. I just don't see it. It's crazy to me. You know, it was funny when coronavirus hit. I got laid off in March on like the 20th. I was off for almost 2 months. Where this gets interesting to me is when COVID started hitting, I'm like, you know what? People are going and raiding the shelves for toilet paper and all the things, and I had gone to a store to do some shopping for my uncle, who's older and in a couple risk categories aside from his age. So I decided, you know what, I'll go do some shopping and I'll get everybody a little bit of toilet paper, and they had brought out pallets of toilet paper, didn't even bother stocking it, and it was just flying away. I'm like, this could get interesting. So 2 days that week, I got up early and I went to the local gun store and I loaded up on ammunition. And I thought, you know, call me paranoid, but I hope I get to send every bit of this downrange and practicing and having fun. So far, I haven't had to use any of it. I've gone target shooting a couple times, but I haven't had to use it. So, but seeing, it was funny, like, I thought, okay, you know, maybe I was wrong, and then all the riots and the looting start, and I thought, you know, maybe it wasn't such a bad idea that I went and did all that. So, anyway, folks, stay safe out there. Stay aware, stay vigilant. I'll do this in another video. This one's gone long enough. So, catch y'all next time. Thanks for tuning in for another Cruise with Smooth. See ya.